to share my story. I'm a Tibetan. Actually, I'm a Mongolian descent from Tibet Plateau. I don't know you ever been in Tibet or not. In our area, we have Tibetans and Mongolians and some other nationalities as well. Lately, have some Chinese too. Then I was born in 1950, so year of tiger. So I'm a tiger, little tiger there. So that's a picture. I like it. Somebody made this cartoon. Myself also sometimes draw something, you know. So then I put this picture there intentionally. I was born in that's pointer is very that's the area. I was born here. This is China. Actually, this part is Tibet. I was born in eastern Tibet here, so I'm from a nomad place. We're like a cowboys. So my parents have those animals, yak, that is a Tibetan cow, kind of a yak in the mountain. Then horses and sheep and everything. So this is my birthplace. Used to we call Amdo. Today called Qinghai province. If you go there and visit, there's no more any big restrictions. If you go to central Tibet, Lhasa, you have to ask another permission or something. But you go to our place, still in Tibet, but you easier. You can go there and visit. So I was 2. They find me as a reincarnation. I would like to share that story with you. Some people are interested, and then we just had some conversation. Buddhism has 3 branches. We call 3 linguistic branches. Pali branch, Chinese branch, and Tibetan branch. That's by the language. The Pali tradition is the original one. Today in Thailand and Sri Lanka and Burma, those places, they practice that one. You might see those monks there. Then the Chinese tradition, mainly in China, then also in Korea, in Japan, East, South Asia, those areas, they practice the Chinese tradition. Then Tibetan tradition is the youngest one. Starts in 9th centuries. Buddhists moved to Tibet. Then had that tradition. That's all the Buddhist teaching translated to different language. So Tibetan tradition in Tibetan, we say that's prayers and everything in Tibetan. So Tibetan and Mongolian share the same tradition. In our tradition, we have this custom, try to find the reincarnation. First of all, the Buddhist belief, everyone has life, continually have a past life and present life and the future life. So the reincarnation is we try to find that person's reincarnation to host the lineage or teachings and so forth. So then I was 2 monks from that monastery. That is a big one of the biggest monastery in our region. That monastery used to have 4,000 monks there. We call it Monastic University. People go there, and that's as a school, as a university as well. You stay there and you study different things, philosophy and history and grammar and also medicine and Tibetan Buddhist, astrology and so forth. So that is a big monastery. The abbot of that monastery passed away. Then when I was 2, they find me as a reincarnation. how to find the reincarnation, I would like to share that little story. First of all, one person passed away. They born in 49 days, reborn. When they born, not the reborn, like come back to the community like that. So when they come back, they stay in the mother's womb, let's say 9 months or around the 10 months. Then 10 months plus that's 49 days, almost 1 year. So one person passed away. After 1 year, they can find their reincarnations. So when my previous Rinpoche, which is the Abbot of the Kumbum, so he passed away. Then after 1 year, the search group went to a different place to find his reincarnation. Then they find those names and the kid's name, the family's name, and they collect together. Then they give to one important person who is in charging that whole process. That is the in Tibet, we have two spiritual leaders. One is His Holiness the Dalai Lama. The other one is Panchen Lama. So the Panchen Lama at that time stay in our monastery. They report to him, then ask him to in charge that whole thing. Then he is in charging. Then report this all name to him. Then he said, "Oh, maybe you can go. That's a village, our village. That's nomad area. We call tribe. You go to that tribe. Maybe you can find the name there." So they find the two of them, and another three give to him. Then he said, "We'll find out the real one." Then how? Then write down the names on the piece of paper. Then in Tibet we have a special food we call zamba. Zamba is made by barley flour. So use barley flour and make zamba flour with water or tea. They can make a little dough like that. So they made the three of them, three like a sphere round one. Then they put in a very special container. So before you put in that special container, then the three names, three different kids' name, and they're writing down a little piece of paper, and they roll it, then insert in that zamba. Then you make them like even, that you can't tell which one is which. Then put in a special container. Then use a fabric to cover it. Then even tied up and seal them. That is very secret. You can't see. Secret and the secret, right? So they put in a very special Buddhist altar and say prayers. After certain days, the Panchen Lama came and started that program. Then, with hundreds and hundreds of monks there, and he uncovered that fabric, take container to stir them. Then another 4 monks with a big golden fabric and hold that one. Then after certain times, then one of them will jump out. When they jump out, open up, that is the reincarnation, the last one. So that's why I'm making joke. Actually, we're making Lama lottery. Making a lottery to find that one. So when they find me as Rinpoche, they find that way. So then my name called Arjia Rinpoche. Actually, Arjia is my title. The Rinpoche also has a title like a father or bishop. So if you see Tibetan monks, then you can say Geshe-la. Which is Geshe-la is like a scholar. Or they might say, "Oh, this is Rinpoche." Okay, Rinpoche, you can say like a father or like a priest. Then the priest have a specific name. Then you have to ask which Rinpoche. Then, for instance, myself, they will say, "Oh, this is Arjia Rinpoche." Okay, that is my name. Then I went to that monastery. Then some people interested that today, but the other places I give talk, they also asking that. So your parents allowed you to go there, or what they feel? So in our culture, Tibetans and Mongolians, when they have a kid, one or two, they definitely send to a monastery to be a monk or a nun. They think that is a very honored thing. That is voluntarily they're doing that one. Among them, some of them became a reincarnation. They feel like very honored. So my parents, of course, leave the, son. It's a very sad thing, but they feel like very honored. So they come to our monastery, stay with me together like 6 months. Then myself, I have a big family. 11 brothers and sisters. I'm the number 9. So then my 2 older brother with me then stayed in monastery and grew up there. So in the monastery, the life is very different. So the monks are really well taken care of me. However, because those are monks, they don't have a wife, they don't have kids. They don't know how to take care of a little boy. So that's why I had, that's my memoir. In that memoir, had some details there. When I was little, sometimes suffered a little bit because that's, they're not intentionally doing bad things, but they don't know how to take care of the little baby. So that's why, the baby, only the parents can take care of. So that's why I had a little bit of something there. So anyway, I was in this monastery, grew up. Then I have my own tutor. I have my own cook. Then assistant and a bunch of group people serving me. Then they treat me as a little king, because I'm an abbot of that monastery. Also, that monastery is a big monastery called Kumbum Monastery. In Chinese, called Tar Si. In Tibetan, they call English, use the Tibetan name, they call Kumbum. You can go there and visit. That is a really huge monastery. Today still they exist in Tibet. They have a lot of places to visit and so forth. Then 1957, 7 or 6, I had the chance to visit my hometown. So those are my parents. So middle, this is me. Some people said, "Oh, we can recognize you when you were a little, just like today." So anyway, so I was born in that tent. Behind there's a tent. This is Mongolian gear. So I was born in that Mongolian gear. Mongolian gear is tents around one. In that tent is a family, important area, guest area. Then the left side is kitchen area. Right side is living area. Then middle have a fire and so forth. They live there. So I was born in that kind of tent, but I never lived there, just unless visit or something. So this is my mother. My mother wearing a Mongolian clothes. My father wearing a Tibetan clothes. Because my family, my grandfather as a Tibetan. Then my mother's side is Mongolian. So actually, this picture is very interesting. I visited my father. My father is a nomad man. Then this is the last picture with him. So after that, 1958, the whole thing changed in China. My life was also changed, turned upside down. What happened? So there's a political movement called Great Leap Forward. You might know that. So the Great Leap Forward started. When that campaign started, then among them one called religious reform. religious reform, the name is very beautiful. However, that is very hard thing for us. So when the military and the Chinese officials come to monastery, not only that's monastery. In Tibet, we have thousands and thousands of monasteries. Just like a church here, if you go to a different place, you will see lots of churches. In our in Tibet, you can see lots of monasteries, big ones, small ones. Big one have over 1,000 people. Middle one maybe 100, and several, people. The small one has 1 or 2 monks, like that's lots of. So the Chinese officials and the military come to every monastery. Our monastery is a big monastery. They come lots of people, maybe over 100 people come and stay there, and they let the monks to study the the policies and the propaganda and so forth. After a while, then one day had a big meeting. So on that meeting, they asked everybody have to be there. Myself, I was 8. I was in the meeting. So on this meeting, they start to arrest the people. So they come, and the first person is our former abbot. Then some trained monks and some military people and some village people came and get him up and with a big rope and tied it up and started beating him. So he was crying like that. Then everybody got scared. Then then they arrested, they arrested lots of monks that day. So for instance, my teacher and the tutor and the cook and the house manager and the assistant, everyone's left that day. So that time, my father back in my hometown, they arrested him too. So his problem is my father. That's it. That's only is his reason, their reason. So that's arrested. Then he went to a jail, then never come back. So he died in that time. So that was 1958. So after that's a big, great leap forward, or the religious reform, the monastery totally shut down, and the monks forcefully disrobed. Then I was sent to a Chinese school. Then I become like that one. So that's a little guy is me. So that one is another monk, my friend. So one day after school, he said, "Oh, we take a picture." So that's in front of our monastery. The monastery became a work team. So not the monastery. That time they didn't destroy the monastery. They still closed. All the rare things are confiscated. Like the monastery always rich, right? They have lots of valuable things and the money and everything. That's all arrested, confiscated. Then all monks have to live together and work together, eat together. So I was sent to a school. Then we have to destroy our robes to diet and make Mao kind of soup. Then we use that one, and I even have a little red scarf there. So when you go to a school, you have to wear that red scarf. Then that's a kind of communist education or communist brainwash they started. So that's the 1958. So 1958 that's a big movement. Then everything's changed. Then lots of monks went to factories and disrobed, and then forcefully send them to countryside and become farmer and so forth. Then some of them left in the monastery, still working. Then lots of masters and the teachers all arrested there in jail. Anyway, then right after that, start the 1960s, we had a big famine. They call it famine, but actually intentionally the government did something. But anyway, there's no food. 4 years, no food. We all eating. Before was less food, and then finally, totally no food. Then we eating green grasses and tree barks and everything. Then lots of people died. How many people died in China? Today they don't still have clear records. Some people said 40 million. Then some people said 60 million. I don't know how many, but lots of people died. Even in our place, some village, the whole village is gone because no food. So we had those kind of thing. Then afterwards, then the situations are getting a little better, and sometimes wars and back and forward like that. Then 1966, that's a big thing happened, which is Cultural Revolution. So when the Cultural Revolution started, everything is horrible. All monasteries destroyed. I mentioned before, so in our region, that's a province. Our province has over 6,000 monasteries. After Cultural Revolution, maybe 10 of them left, but the 10 of them even destroyed, not really everything, just they wounded like just the ruins there. So Kumbum is one of them. So let me share you a very interesting story. That's a kind of funny kind of a joke, but that is the true story. So during the Cultural Revolution, all schools are closed. The monastery, of course, they closed. They call the monks as a demon. The priests and the monks and the teachers and the professors all as a demon. They're denouncing them. They closed. The school also closed. They just only studied the Chairman Mao's book. Chairman Mao has 4 volumes of his book, Life Story, and only study that one. Then nothing else you can't study. Then also he has quotes, some saying. So made a little small book. We studying that one too. So during the Cultural Revolution, the funny thing is, they send 2 students on the big bus. If you travel to somewhere else, for instance, you travel to a city, then on the bus, 2 students sitting there and say the Chairman Mao's quote, then you have to follow them and you have to repeat them. If you go to a store, you buy something, the man will tell you Chairman Mao's quote, then you have to say. Then after that, they will say again, you have a dialogue with the Chairman Mao's quote. Then you can buy things. You can't say it. They will give you a book. They will send you to a chair, then sit down and recite. Before you totally remember that quote, you can't leave. So that's kind of that time do that. Then even later, they become more like extreme thing. Then we carry that time, by the way, we all work in the fields. No more monastery. We became a farm. Then no more school. I was sent to a Chinese labor camp and work in the labor camp. So in the labor camp, totally no freedom. Then not a jail, but it's a labor camp. Labor camp have a team leader. So whenever you go somewhere or do something, you have to report to that team leader. If team leader give permission, then you can leave. Otherwise, you can't leave. Then we make a poster on that one has Chairman Mao's picture. We carry this one to the field, put in fields. Before work, we have to report to him. We ask him, like just like a Boone, like a spiritual thing, everybody go there and stand very seriously, and then respectfully bow him 3 times, then ask him like a good morning, and then you have to tell, you have to give a kind of statement what you're going to do today. Then after that talk, then you go and work. Evening after, before take off, from the fields, then you go to Chairman Mao and kind of apologize him. Supposedly today we have to finish that much thing, but we didn't. That is very bad, and so sorry. And the next day we'll work hard and so forth like that. So there's a little story happen. One person sick. He was really catch cold or something. Then he had to leave. Then he asked the team leader. So team leader and that person has a little problem. Then team leader want to give a hard time for him. Said, you ask Chairman Mao, I can't do. So then that person went to Chairman Mao's picture and said something, and he left. Then the team leader was really upset because this guy is kind of teasing on him. So then after 5 days, that guy come back. And then team leader is really mad, said, why you leave 5 days? You have to come back tomorrow or something. Why you leave? Then I don't have any choice. You send me to Chairman Mao. I talked to Chairman Mao. Chairman Mao didn't say anything. Then I looked at his picture, and then his hand like that. Maybe he gave me 5 days off. So that is the picture. That's a kind of a joke, but that is a true story happened that time. So that is the Cultural Revolution. So that means the Cultural Revolution, one hand is ridiculous, Then they destroyed the monastery, destroyed the church and the school and the library and everything. So they destroyed not only Tibetan thing, they destroyed the Chinese culture as well. So anyway, that is the Cultural Revolution. During the Cultural Revolution, we all work in the fields. Those are my friends, and all of them as monks. But you can't wear the robes and everything. Then we're working fields, and then we take pictures like that. So that is a hard thing, So I mentioned we have 2 spiritual leaders. One is Dalai Lama. 1959. His Holiness Dalai Lama, escaped Tibet to India in the exile life. Then Panchen Lama stayed in China, Tibet. So the Chinese government is really happy with him because they think he gonna close to the Chinese government and so forth. But when he stayed there, he is a very brave man, and I consider that as a hero. Of course, our spiritual teacher. Then he go to different Tibetan places and then do research and find out those problems. That's totally different than that's the Chinese constitution or law. So then they report to the Chinese government. Then finally, he got in trouble. They considered him as a counter-revolutionary. So then, during the Cultural Revolution, they were denouncing him. That is him. So that's called denouncing. Just the students, mostly students and the young people, they just stand up and criticize him, denouncing him, and even sometimes beat him like that. So that's not only Panchen Lama. Every spiritual leaders or elders or wherever some reason they find out that they will do that. So that's one. That's called in Tibet we have reincarnations, right? I mentioned. So also we have a female reincarnations. This is a female Lama. So that time they denouncing him with those like ritual tools in his hand, and put the special hats and denouncing them. Those are supposedly they considered bad people. Those other red guards and the other people denouncing him. So that is the Jokang Temple. Jokang Temple is a very famous temple in Lhasa. Then in Lhasa, that's the Jokan temple has Buddha Shakyamuni and other Buddha statues and little temples there. Then during the Cultural Revolution, they destroyed all of them. Then instead they put the Chairman Mao's picture there. So this is the Chairman Mao's picture. They replaced. So that's called tall hat. They put that's a tall hat. They made in newspaper and everything. They put it. Then they kind of denouncing them. That's humiliate those people. That's just a lady. Again, that's a denouncing. That's called denouncing. So even that time, I would like to share one story. People asking me, so during that Cultural Revolution or Great Leap Forward, you all have a very difficult time. First of all, we don't have a food to eat. Later, we don't have any freedom. We don't have any human rights. So if you go somewhere, you can't go. You have to ask permission. If they don't give permission, you can't leave. You're sick or something. That's why we don't have that kind of freedom. However, how to survive? How you think about that? How then that's the Buddhist teaching helped me a lot. Then the other hand, those elder spiritual leaders were together. Some of them they rested. They spent 20 years in jail. Nothing. They just come back. No reason to put in jail. They come back. They working together. All of them, as a Tibetan teacher, Tibetan the Buddhist practice, they think everything is created by karma. So what is karma? Karma is action. That's action from our self. That is our understanding. So we're looking for happiness, and we try to avoid the suffering, but we can't leave the suffering. We can't get the happiness. Why? We didn't have a good karma to get them. So the karma is also causes. So when you want the happiness, you have to have a causes of happiness. If you leave the suffering, you have to get rid of the causes of suffering. That is our philosophy. So whenever we have this suffering, we think, oh, that is our bad karma. We did something bad, maybe previous life. So that's a karma come to me. So I have to do practice. And when I have those suffering, don't hatred others. Don't hate those people. That is your karma, not their fault. So you have to use chant to practice. That is a good chant. You can practice the forgiveness, practice the generosity, practice the compassion and the peace and so forth. So that's kind of teaching helped me a lot, because that's they all practice that way. We can see them. Even that time, one of my uncle is very important High Lama, but they are denouncing him and yelling him and like that. But he's really kind of scared like that, very carefully, like talking like that. When he come back, he's totally not that person. He was laughing, he was happy, he was making joke, like that. So that's influenced me a lot. So during that time, my uncle teach me, even Cultural Revolution is very, very hard. We can't say prayers, we can't study. When they find out, that's a big problem. They might put in jail even. So, but they said, you have to study. You have to study something. One day you will use them. So that's why don't make that a big obstacle as a reason. Okay, so there's a Cultural Revolution, that the situation's bad, I don't want to study, I just spend time. No, that's not good. You have to study. So they said, I will teach you. So today it's a Google, right? So if you go to a cell phone or internet, computer, and you don't have an answer, you just Google it, they will come out, right? In Tibet, the teachers are live Google. They put everything in their mind. When you ask, they will answer you. So that's why they said at that time we can't see the books, we can't see the sutras and everything, but they just remember everything. They just teach me. So that's why he, even that time, asked me to study. Then I studied. I went to Chinese school just 4 years, then stopped. I don't have, kind of ability or that's qualification to go to the school because they consider I'm a bad guy, So then I studied Chinese by myself on. Then my teacher, uncle, teach me Tibetan and sutras and so forth. I secretly studied. That is the picture. That time I can't pick the picture, but I put this one instead, just, remembering something. So, 1976, after 10 years, everything's changed. What's happened? The Chairman Mao passed away. On this picture, the Chairman Mao passed away. Then the Cultural Revolution started to end. So those are, they call Gang of Four. That's just the reason, the political politics. So that's, the with glasses, that is Chairman Mao's wife. So they think they just made the reason. They said that Chairman Mao's wife is counter-revolutionary. So the Cultural Revolution is not the Chairman Mao's fault and her fault, and they arrested 4 of them. Then that's a kind of chance to change everything. The Cultural Revolution ends and everything is changed. So 1980s, the monasteries kind of reopened. Monks returned to monastery. We are at that time stay in the monastery. Kumbum Monastery, one reason they didn't destroy whole thing, because they became a museum. Museum, not like a museum here, like a bad museum, like those bad people living this kind of life, and they kind of for brainwash they using that one. So that's the reason. Anyway, they left. So we're living in monastery. Then that time the monastery reopened, and the monks all saying prayers and start like that. That's the reason. Then 1980s to almost 1990s, that 10 years we call golden time in China. So freer, like China have more like open, and the communists are totally gone. Then the capitalists secretly come to China, and then China opened up and making close friends to different countries and Westerners and like that. Anyway, 1989, the students stand up and had that's a big demonstration in Beijing. So that is the Tiananmen Square. So that's the Tiananmen Square happened. That time I was there. I was studying Beijing. So I'm not joined that group, but I went there every day, almost 2 months. A big crowd, very excited. Everybody think that China going to turn to a free country, like that. But anyway, after that, something happened. What's happened? I told you we have 2 spiritual leaders, Panchen Lama and Dalai Lama. When our tradition, when Panchen Lama passed away, the Dalai Lama is the person to find his reincarnation, make a final decision. If Dalai Lama passed away, the Panchen Lama is the only person can make this decision to find his reincarnation. This is our tradition. That time, the Panchen Lama, I mentioned, he passed away. So that had lots of story. Why he passed away? He was very young and strong and so forth. But anyway, we don't have any detail, but I can tell. But anyway, he passed away. When he passed away, then his reincarnation, who gonna find his reincarnation? So Chinese government has two thoughts. One liberal leader said, "Oh, we should ask the Dalai Lama because all Tibetans want him to decide." Then the conservative Chinese communists said, "No, we can't ask the Dalai Lama. He is a bad person. He is separate. So he is the counter-revolutionary. We shouldn't ask him." Those are two thoughts coming. Anyway, when the Tiananmen Square happened, the students stand up. Then after 2 months, the conservatives are won, and they cracked down the students and removed all positions from the liberal leaders. Then the Panchen Lama's reincarnation thing, kind of got that's obstacles. Then can't ask Dalai Lama. So the Panchen Lama's reincarnation became two. That's one. That's a young boy. That one is the Dalai Lama's version of Panchen Lama. That is the Chinese government's version of Panchen Lama. So Chinese communists, they don't believe Buddhism. However, they find the reincarnation for all practitioners, for us, ask us to believe him and worship him. That's very difficult. So that's why then that's the reason I escaped China to West. That is my reason. Why have that thing? Because they asked me to be his teacher. So my uncle, I mentioned, my uncle Arjia Rinpoche was previous Panchen Lama's teacher. So the government told me, you should be the Chinese Panchen Lama's teacher because your uncle did a good job. You have to listen to the government, make, kind of compromise everything, listen to the government. They made me as they would like to make me as a puppet, then listen to them and doing whatever the Tibetan. That's why I can't do it. Then 1998, I escaped China to West. That's my book is a Hollywood part. I have to share that one. When I decided to leave, so very dangerous. That time, actually, I had a very high position because the Cultural Revolution and everything. So I'm considered as one of the High Lama. So they gave me a very high position. I'm a member of Communist Consultant Community. So that's in the West like a congressman, like that. So then when I have a very high position, then also I'm a vice president of the Chinese Buddhist Association, then Abbot of Kumbum Monastery, and so forth. So then if I leave, very difficult. Then if I say no to the government, they will definitely reject. I have to listen to them. So then for me, it's very, very hard. Then I decide to escape. Then how to escape? That's just a challenge. So then I disguised, like wearing dark glasses and leave a little mustache. Then change that clothes. Then wearing like tie and suit, like as a Japanese visitor or something like that, with the camera. And 5 of us from Beijing escaped to Guatemala. So that's a very interesting thing. In the West, now I'm become an American citizen as well, citizenship as well. So when my passport, have to renew or something, I just send it. Then after a couple of weeks, they will send a new one. In China, that's just a big thing. When you apply a passport, they will ask why you apply. Normally, for Tibetans, Mongolians, no passport, they won't give. So the government send you to a study or doing something that's special. Otherwise, you can't if you are Chinese people, they have some ability. If a business people, no problem. You can apply and you can get a visa, or you can get a passport. But normally we don't have it. But I do have, because I'm kind of a puppet at that time. They send me to a different country to have a meetings and so forth. I have a passport. Then I talked to my friend in Beijing. So I want to secretly go to somewhere and take a little vacation. Can you help me? So he's working at the airport. He said, are you sure you're coming back? Yeah, definitely I'm coming back. Okay, then I will do something. Then one day, big snow coming down. Then I have to buy the tickets, but I can't buy tickets from different countries because you have to have a visas. So I don't have any visa. I'm difficult to ask visa to the embassy. So if you go to Guatemala, there's no visa, because the reason Guatemala and China doesn't have a foreign relationship. So that's why they don't have a Guatemalan embassy in Beijing. So I bought tickets from online. Then from Beijing I escaped. Then I'm wearing that one. Then my hat's down like that. I'm very scared. Then 5 of us then went to that airport. Then from the airport we're waiting. That's very details there, but I don't have time to share those little details. But anyway, then we were on the airplane. Then when we get there, then the airplane never starts. They don't take off on time. They're just waiting, and the music's on, like the people walking inside like that. Then I thought, maybe my friend just treated me. Maybe they just treated me. They just told the police. Now in my mind, they just the police gonna come and arrest me, and like those pictures. Then I'm so scared. Actually, they're waiting for other passengers to come because there's big snow in Beijing. So some passengers stuck somewhere. So they're waiting for them. After 1 hour, all come, and the airplane closed the door and take off. Then big release. Then I went. When I got in Guatemala, another problem. So Guatemala run by military. So the military, I get the stamp and the visa, 1 month, they call so-called landing visa. I get the landing visa, 1 month, and try to leave. So the military people, like one general or whatever, one guy came and they said to check our passport. They took them away. So then I'm really scared. Then one guy said, they might send you back. Then I'm really scared. So I said lots of prayers and, then actually he wants money. Then unfortunately we can't speak Spanish. I can't speak any English. Then they can't speak Chinese or Tibetan. So we just looking at each other like that. I know he wants some money, but I can't give because I don't know. Maybe so he was his group. Then finally, after 1 hour, then they give me passport. I'm totally released. Thank you. So I get in Guatemala. After 2 months, then I contact to His Holiness Dalai Lama's office in Washington, D.C. Then they contact to some government people. The U.S. government helped us, and I get the visa from the Guatemala to U.S. Then I asked the political asylum right away. Then I stayed in, that's in Guatemala. Then Guatemala spent 2 months here. Then first time after 40 years, I saw His Holiness Dalai Lama in New York. So when I was very young, like this big, then he came to our monastery, but I barely remember this story. Then after 40 years, I met him in New York. Then I went to, I spent some time in New York. New York is wonderful when I was young. So, oh, one day I have a dream. I have to visit New York, New York. Then 1998, I really stayed in New York. Oh, difficult, you know. So I with my friend called Rose. She's a wonderful person. She's a really kind of wealthy person. She has an apartment in Central Park West. So we stayed there. Then before she said, you just only stay 10 days, okay? 10 days. And then we can't speak English, so we can't communicate. She said, like 10 days, then leave. Okay, then where are we going? Then we're all Tibetans like that, you know. We can't stay. We start cleaning that's a big apartment, like a little messy, right? So we clean and we cook for them. Then after 10 days, said, oh, stay here. Then we said, no, we can't stay here. That's very difficult. We can't communicate. We don't know the culture and we don't know the custom and everything. That's very difficult. So we can't. So then I have a friend in Guatemala. That's California. So I try to contact him. Then I want to go to California. I went to Los Angeles. Then the friend said, is the Chinese, you know, from Hong Kong. He said, oh, okay, Shifu, come stay with us, Then we stayed there. Oh, at least we can talk, we can communicate, right? So then his name called Steven. Steven want to go to China, do business. Then I said, Steve, you have to be careful. So I laughed. Maybe they might find out something. Then Steve said, Steve, don't worry, that's too much. That's the U.S., that's not China, like that. Okay. Then he left. After 2 days, all of a sudden he called. He was in the airport. They cut him. So when they landed, the Chinese, you know, the secret agents are super. They find out. They asked him, so, are you Steve? Yes. Then they asked me, where's Arjia? Then he said, no, I don't know. Not to stay in your place? No. Okay, you just wait. Then they said, okay, we go together. They have a car. Then they put in car. They go to which hotel? They go to a hotel. Then he stayed in that hotel. The secret, the police sitting that's next to the room. And they open the door, they're watching him. They ask, do you have a cell phone? He said, no, I don't have a cell phone. Okay. Because he's an American citizen, they can't easily arrest him or something. So they're waiting for the leaders from Beijing. So that time he called and, please leave. Oh, then where I'm going? Then fortunately Rose with us. Then we said we have to leave. Then Rose got scared. Oh, we can't sleep. And then maybe nighttime, you know, something happened. The doors like, banging or something. Then we think, oh, maybe the Chinese, maybe police come here or something. That's actually nothing, but we're so scared. Then after 7 days, we left. We went to San Francisco. Then nobody, we don't have any friends. And then fortunately we met a friend called Peter and Mimi. So they're really nice people. That's just Peter, that's Mimi. They're 3 kids. Those are our 5 people. That's Peter's friends, like housekeeper or whatever. So they said, oh, okay, Tibetan refugees, we'll taking care of you. Then they had a very old house in Mill Valley. Let's ask you to stay in Mill Valley. We stayed there until I come to Indiana. So I started a little center in the Mill Valley. So by the way, I have a friend here called Bernard. Bernard from Portland. So he was there. And he tried to come to our place to do the meditation. Then we can't communicate. And then he said, oh, okay, I will teach you the English. Then he's one of my English tutor. I guess he did a good job, huh? Thank you. So Thank you. After that, I'm writing something. He's asking, "What are you writing?" So something. Then later, I said, that's all in Chinese. I can't. I type them. So I never used computer before. I bought a big computer on the, a big computer. Then I try to type. That's my story. I have to write my memoir. That's the story and the secret things I have to share. So then later they find out it's Chinese. They couldn't find. Then disappointed. Later, one of my friend, they translated to English. They said, "Oh, wonderful story. We have to rewrite. That doesn't work." So then they interviewed me. At the same time, they teach me English. They asked me to teach them Tibetan. But after 4 years, I barely can speak English, but they can't speak Tibetan. That's how come. Oh, Bernard, you should work hard. So Bernard is one of our dear friends. We have some dear friends. Anyway, so I complete my memoir. So actually, he interviewed me, and I told the story right down. But he wrote this book. But he gave me the good, reputation on that book. Said the author is me, not him. So anyway, so that's in Mill Valley. Then 2006. All of a sudden, the phone call from Dharamsala. Dharamsala, do you know where's Dharamsala? In India. So where His Holiness Dalai Lama lived. So Dalai Lama's office called, said, "Oh, you have a good news." "Oh, what's the good news?" I thought maybe I can send back to Tibet or something. Then, "No, you should go to Indiana." I said, "Indiana? From California to Indiana? Cornfield?" So then said, "You have to go." Then I said, "No, I can't. Can I be excused?" "No." Then you have to go. Then I went to Indiana. Then the reason why Indiana, lots of people asking. So the interesting thing, when Chinese people ask, why you go to Indiana? Because Indiana has a lake. Do you know that's a Lake Monroe? It's like a water dam. So when you Google map, you check it, that's somehow little by look dragon or something. The Chinese people say, because of a dragon you went there, right? But actually not. So Indiana has a temple. That temple started by His Holiness' older brother. Because he was sick, nobody can taking care of the temple. Then he sent me to replace him. So that is a big mission. Then I went there. Actually, I went to Indiana. I had lots of interesting things. I like Indiana now. So now we have a big snow. Don't go there now. But if you have a time to visit there, please welcome anytime. We have 4 cottages. We remodeled them. Very wonderful. Bernard stayed there. And he doesn't want to leave, but I say we have to leave. Anyway, I'm just joking. But we have 4 cottages. Some, we call it retreat rooms, but kind of guest rooms like that. Then we have a community kitchen. We'll very soon have a very good cook. Gonna cook Tibetan kind of Chinese food. So you can have food to eat, you can meditate, you can learn Buddhism. By the way, Buddhism has 2 things very important. We call compassion and wisdom. The compassion is our religion. The wisdom is our point of view. So the Buddhist is different than maybe other religion. I don't know, sorry about my other ignorance for the other religion, I don't know. But in Buddhism, there's no creator. Who is the creator? Creator is oneself. That's karma. So good or bad, all from you. So you want to make some things are good, then your hand. Bad, also you making. So that is karma. So how? That's whole thing called wisdom. So wisdom is cause and effect. The compassion is love. However, the love we have, that's have a condition. We love ourselves, we love our friends, we love our families, but we don't love the others, less love. Even somebody hurts me, oh, I don't like this person. If that person, for instance, during the Cultural Revolution, some people were really difficult to us. So they said, the teacher said, you have to practice them. Actually, when we were little, sometimes they got to trouble, then we're very happy. Karma comes to you. No, don't say that. Don't say that. That's bad. You have to have a compassion for them. So anyway, I don't know how, but that's compassion maybe. So the Buddhist compassion is unconditional love. No matter that person say good to you or bad to you or even hurts you, you have to have a peace and compassion and love. So that is the compassion. And compassion and wisdom is the key words in Buddhism. When you come to our place, you can study those things too. Then also we have a meditation things. Then others, some psychologists, teachers came and giving teachings and talks and the retreat and everything we also have. Then also we have a children's summer camp because we have a big land. We have 108 acres, but all in the woods. So we're just using maybe, maybe 10% of them. Some buildings there, then you can come and visit. So that is the Indiana Center. Now, I have to show you something. I have to show off a little bit, okay? So, when I started this book, I went to Mongolia because I'm Mongolian descent, right? I can't go back home. I already now is 2018. I left my country already 20 years. I can't go back to my home. My parents are already passed away, but some of sisters and brothers still there. But I can't contact them. I can't go back to them. That's very sad. Only thing, I can go to Mongolia to visit. When I visited Mongolia, Mongolia is a Republic Mongolia and the Inner Mongolia, two places. Those Republic Mongolia is the independent country. The Inner Mongolia is under China. That's the Inner Mongolia I can't go. So the Mongolia country, independent country, I can go there because we're saying same language and like that. And then, the kids had cancer. So we should do something for them. Then very good heart and big heart people helped, and we all did a good job and doing fundraising. And I sell books, and that's all proceeds go to the Cancer Care Treatment Centers project. Then we build a hospital there. So this is a cancer care hospital, this one, and this one. This is a guest house, and all the visiting doctors from different countries, America or Canada or Japan, they can stay here and doing treatment and visit Mongolia. So that is the cancer care center. We have 75 beds there. So, that is kind of a little good thing. Thank you so much. So, you feel, thank you. I would like to do a little commercial thing. If you buy my book, all proceeds will go there, not in my package, but, the good thing is I translated that book to Chinese and Mongolian and Japanese. Last year, I was in Japan 2 months. I went to all over the place, gave talks, and made this slideshow. I put more information in that, translated to Japanese. Now, this year, I'm going to Russia. Somebody in Russia, they translated my book, so I'm very excited. But getting visa is a little bit hard, but I will do. So anyway, so thank you so much. This is my little presentation today. Now you have time to ask the questions. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And if you want to come ask a question, please come up to the microphone. There's one on each side. And then also, like he said, they do have books for sale and little cards about their center in Indiana.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you, firstly, so much.
You're welcome.
So, my question is this. It's kind of two parts, I suppose. Did you get to meet any other monks that had become farmers through the brainwashing and the cultural
Revolution, yeah.
Cultural revolution, yes, I'm sorry. Did you get a chance to interact with any other monks that had gone through that and perhaps did not practice Buddhism and kind of fell away from the spirituality?
Yeah. Unfortunately, let's say we have that time we have 2,000 monks almost left there. Let's say 1,000, maybe half of them just brainwashed, and even not really brainwashed, but they don't care and everything like that. So some of them really, really bad. So most of them okay, but they're scared, they're quiet. But half of them maybe just they just left. Yeah.
Can I ask one more question? What differences did you see in them as opposed to the monks that continue to practice?
That's a very interesting question. So if somebody in that kind of a community and that kind of a situation practice, and they've been brainwashed and everything they turned, but the interesting thing is afterwards, after maybe 5 years, 10 years after Cultural Revolution, some of them really regressed. They said, "Oh, we shouldn't do that." So some of them loudly can say that, "Oh, I've been brainwashed, I shouldn't do that. I'm bad," like that. Some of them they secretly didn't say, but later on their situations are changed maybe. But they just come to some of them become very active. Like that, helping and doing something. Some of them, they didn't do that. Maybe they just gave a little donation and kind of like that. So that's why afterwards you can see the big change. Always they're changing.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Yes, please.
My question is life easier in Lhasa in Tibet now, or are they still ruled by the Chinese?
That's I really can't tell because I left Tibet 20 years now. So depends. If you think that's just a material life, tell the truth, totally different. Today have a more material, more wealthier, everybody has the cars and so forth. However, spiritual part is very difficult. For instance, in Tibet, you can't have a Dalai Lama's picture. Even I'm not a really famous person, but you can't have my picture there, so you can't practice that way. Then if you join those kind of things, you're in big trouble. So culturally, religiously, not good. The material things depends. If you have some kind of background, you're really good. You don't have this background, then you're always worse. But it depends. Material and everything is a little bit good. Okay, no problem. But spiritually, not good.
I have one other question.
Yes.
Can your brothers and sisters come to visit you here?
No way. They won't give a visa passport to them. So even now it's a little bit better, but we can't talk on phone. Every phone was blocked. So when you call, then even Westerners go to Tibet and visit, they will like to very big heart. They want to give a secretly give a picture. Don't do that. If they give that, they don't do anything for you, but afterwards they will get in trouble. So that's why when they call us, they might questioning them. So that's the police. Sometimes there's nothing to do. They just find that those things they make them bigger like that, and they trouble them. So that's why very difficult. They can't come here. Even very difficult to call them. Yeah.
I have just one more.
Yes, please.
After the life you have lived, what were your first impressions of America?
America? Oh, lots of freedom. Everything is freedom. Freedom, little bit almost kind of too much. So of course, then if you don't have a freedom, you don't know what is freedom. In the Tibetan or Chinese, we talk to them. So we don't have a freedom. They said, what is freedom? What kind of freedom are you searching for? So when we come here, whenever you talk, whenever you say it, all freedom, right? So that's, you almost like feel like freedom. So let me tell you one little story, very interesting. So 2 years ago or something, one of my friends, I called him, said, where are you? Then he went to Lhasa. Lhasa, they call the Lhasa Tibet Autonomous Region. That part is very, very tight. So when you go there, you have to have, ID and birth certificate and so forth, lots of things. Then you have to permission, then you go there. Only on Tibetans, a different place like that. Then I asked him, where are you? Where are you now? He said, I'm in Lhasa. Oh, that's a big difference. You're in Lhasa? Yes. Oh, no problem now? Yeah, no problem. Oh, good. Then, what are you doing? Oh, I was there looking for some book or something. They said, oh, good. Now, I have heard that then if you go to Lhasa, they easily put in jail. Oh, I just in jail 2 days. Really? That's nothing? That's nothing. That's nothing. So that's become their life. Become our life, part of life. So that's why I told you, what is freedom? Even we don't know. They stay in jail 2 days. They said, that's just normal. Oh, cold. It's very cold like that. They stay 2 days. That's no reason. They had that's idea have some problem. They just send there and 2 days. So here you can't do that, right? So lots of good things. We should know that. So that's just very. Here I said a little bit too much freedom. Some people even don't know those things. So that's a really rare thing. For us, we come here. Oh, that's a wonderful country. Of course, everything have to maintain and everything. But we have this freedom. We have to rare this freedom. We have to respect that one. That's very important. Thank you. Yes. Yes.
Thank you for allowing me. So, as a child and an adolescent, you went through so much hardship. What allowed you to keep going? Our children here don't know that. They have no idea. What allowed you? Was it your faith, your spirituality? What allowed you to keep going?
That's a really I can't answer that one because I don't have any experiences. So maybe I will say something. Maybe you can find out the answer. Maybe when I went to Los Angeles, so one Mongolian family visited, then 2 kids there, like both of them are teenagers. One is like the most very difficult. When I ask something, they don't answer. Like very difficult. How is the school? Good, like that. Then just checking his her or his cell phone like that. The other one is very nice, very kind of diligent, running around like serving tea and like that. Then I said, what's happened to those 2 kids? Then one just from Mongolia 2 days ago. The other one grew up in California. So that means I just told you we have a freedom we have to rear. So here, for instance, sometimes parents tell them, in our place, the parents are going to beat you. That's not good. However, no problem. Here, you can't do that, right? So that is the freedom, of course. That's the other hand, they kind of ruin that kids. So sometimes they say that people have that depression, so-called depression. In our culture, what is depression? We don't know. Now maybe have a depression. They translate it to Tibetan, or they know what is depression. Before, we don't have it. They said, when you have this depression, don't take medicine. You take medicine, getting worse and worse. Good thing is just 2 days treatment. What we should do? You send them to earthquake place or big tragedies there. You just go there and work 2 days. Then the the depression will totally leave. So that's a kind of a thing. So otherwise, I can't tell you, oh, this is that. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You have another one?
Oh, yes, I do.
Okay. I've got a simple one. Okay.
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 Simple it is. I didn't have a simple one before. So what did your practices look like in the camp? Like your spiritual daily things?
Daily things, daily routine. I get up very early because I sleep also early, but every night I just sleep for 5 hours. That's enough. Sometimes 4 hours. So, however, when I sleep, very deep sleep, so the doctor said the quality is good. That's okay. Okay. Then when I get up, then I clean my room and everything. After that, I do meditation every day. So that's really help. So the Buddhist idea is the people's body built by 4 elements. So those 4 elements, the whole universe built by 4 elements. For instance, the earth, water, fire, wind. Those are 4 things there. Earth have inside that's fire, outside have water, the earth soft is the dirt, earth, and then have that's wind and the air. The human being like that. But our problem is that's 4 elements losing balance. So that's why we have we call sick. So when you do meditation, automatically making that balance. So I every day do a meditation, maybe 10 to 20 minutes. So after that, prayer, say prayers every day. Prayer combined meditation. That's we have 2 kinds of meditations: single-pointed meditation and analytical meditation. I'm quietly doing that one. That's supposedly it's a single-pointed meditation. After that's analytical meditation. After meditation, can you guess? I'm going to a gym every day to walk and try to swim, but I can't. But I have that's what you call wings a thing. Yeah. I have that's one, and then that's really good. Then after that, almost 2 hours. Spend 2 hours there. Then come back and have breakfast. And then I work because the emails and meet people and doing something in the center. Then 2 meals a day. I try to eat that. So sometimes if Bernard comes, then I have to eat the dinner and some dessert. That's not good, Bernard. So otherwise, those are kind of my routine. Then I walk a lot. Yeah. You're welcome. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you again for sharing your experiences.
Okay.
Can you tell us more about the female Dalai Lama? And is there a female Dalai Lama in China or that made it into exile? That was fascinating to me. I'd never heard that. So.
No. That's a female reincarnation, not a female Dalai Lama.
Oh, so there's a female. Okay.
Female reincarnation. For instance, I'm a so-called Lama, right? So you can have a female Lama. The population always men first in Tibet. So that's all the men Lama lots. Woman Lama is less. We still have some. Interesting thing, Dalai Lama said, if he is the last one, he said, if people still want one, maybe have a female Dalai Lama. Maybe it's a Western Dalai Lama. That's what he said. That's, in our rule, that's maybe possible. Very possible, yeah. You're welcome.
All right, we're going to take one more. Good evening.
Good evening.
And thank you for sharing your incredible story.
Thank you.
As a native of the state of Indiana, I thank you for your time.
Hoosier.
To the state myself. My question to you is, where do we go from here? Do you stay in Indiana, or could you conceivably be assigned somewhere else in the United States? Continue your work with the cancer treatment for children?
Yes. That's a cancer treatment center we build and give to government. The government is running that one. Now, next project, I'm doing a school. I try to build a school in Mongolia. That's what I want to do. That is my second project. Then your question is very interesting. I came here, I stayed in California. California I consider as my second home a little bit. So the Indiana will be the third home. Then the third home I will visit a lot, but I will like to stay in second home. That is my hope. When I retire, I want to go there. That's when, but I can't tell. Start last year, maybe 2 years ago, I already said that, but I'm still there. But I like that Hoosier place a lot. Thank you. I'm a Hoosier monk. Okay.
Thank you all for coming out.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.